My sasser sent me a DM on Twitter with this story right here. And before I get into it, to that Mike O'Mara pig out in the NYPD, the one who I highlighted or talked about in my live stream a couple days ago, who was saying that they're tired of being called animals, thugs, and criminals. The story that I'm about to bring right now is the exact reason why you are referred to thugs, animals, and criminals. In this picture, you see a 62-year-old man by the name of Michael Blue Thomas, and he lived in Los Angeles, where he was fatally shot and killed by some terrorists, unarmed black man. And they claimed that he was reaching for their gun, but his fiance says otherwise. Now, mind you, he was shot and killed in his living room in his home. LA terrorist shot dead an unarmed 62-year-old black man in his living room, claiming he reached for the deputy's gun, while the victim's family has insisted he was turning away from the terrorists when they killed him and said the man would still be alive if he was white. Michael Blue Thomas was shot and killed in his home in Lancaster early Thursday morning when LA County Sheriff's deputies were responding to reports of a domestic dispute. I would like to know who made the call. According to the terrorists, they shot the disabled man when he tried to take one of their firearms. Thomas's distraught fiancee Kimberly and the family's attorney Bradley Gage have cast doubt on the terrorist claims, insisting he was simply turning away from the terrorist when they opened fire on him. They also insist the black man was unarmed and was not hurting Kimberly, but that they were only having a verbal argument. The tragic shooting has come as calls are mounting for widespread police reform and an end to police brutality and systemic racism across America following the killing of a black man by the name of George Floyd, who died when a terrorist knelt on his neck for almost 9 minutes on Memorial Day. Gage slammed the cops at the center of Thomas's death, telling the Daily Beast, "There is no doubt in my mind that if Mr. Thomas was white, he would be alive today." The tragic shooting unfolded at around 5:30 a.m. Thursday when deputies responded to a 911 call made by Kimberly over a domestic violence incident, so she made the call. Police said she later told them Thomas had assaulted her. When the deputies arrived and tried to detain Thomas, the man refused to comply and a struggle broke out, according to authorities. See, now what's going to end up happening, they're going to shift this onto the fiance. I would not have any doubt in my mind that they're going to shift it towards her. Mrs. Thomas then allegedly reached for one of the terrorist guns, at which point one of the deputies shot him. During the altercation, the suspect reached down and attempted to gain control of one of the deputy's firearms. It was at that time when a deputy involved shooting occurred, a police statement said. However, Thomas's family denied the allegations that he was reaching for a gun and claimed the cops murdered him without justification. As they were holding him, they hurt him by twisting his arm. At that point, because he was uncomfortable, Mr. Thomas tried to move, and one deputy just stepped back and shot him. He was murdered without justification. It was 100% avoidable. It definitely could have probably been real avoidable had they not been called. Gage branded the claim Thomas reached for a gun completely false and pointed out that he had disabilities in his hands. He was disabled. He had problems with his hands. It would have been painful for him to try to grab a gun, he told the Daily Beast. He also said Thomas did not own a weapon and was only having a verbal argument with Kimberly, who he had lived with for 21 years and is mostly deaf, meaning the couple talk loudly to each other. The victim's devastated fiance also told CBS Los Angeles that reports Thomas had reached for a firearm are untrue. "I heard Michael say, 'I have a right to not let you in the house.'" Thomas was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. LA County Sheriff's deputies are not currently required to wear body cameras. Look at that. Not required to wear body cameras. Now, when I did my live stream, when I was talking about the defunding of the police, I said they might as well scratch the body camera parts off, because most of the time, in some places, they don't even have to wear them. Some of them don't even have them, or they have them and they don't turn them on, or they're quote unquote malfunction. This falls into the category of them not being required to wear them. So now it's going to be an even harder case to prove. I would not be surprised if this one falls through the cracks, just on that piece alone. The family's attorney are calling for the terrorists involved to face charges over the black man's killing. The LA County Sheriff's Department told the DailyMail.com the investigation into the incident is ongoing, and I bet you it's internal. They would not confirm whether the terrorists involved are facing disciplinary actions or charges. I bet you they're not facing either. Had to pause it right quick, got an incoming call, but yeah, they're going to do an internal investigation like all these other departments are known to do. That is something else that I forgot to mention in my live stream yesterday when I was talking about the defunding of the police. Because someone had mentioned something, well, when it comes to defunding them, they also need to make it where when it comes to these settlements that these families will most likely get, that money needs to come straight from the department. Because the point of the defunding is to technically punish them in hopes that it scales back on the stuff that they do. But to be honest, I don't think they're going to do, because they hire too many damn rebels. But what they also need to do, along with what I said about them giving or getting the settlements out of the taxpayers' pockets, which is us, they also need to stop with these internal investigations. Because when they investigate themselves, that's why they're not being founded on basis of wrongdoing. That's why the killers of Breonna Taylor still have a job. They don't have the job right now that they were currently at least not right now, but they are still working. They weren't even criminally charged. They were never arrested. They were never charged with anything. They never spent the day in jail. But Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend, for defending himself, trying to defend his girlfriend, he gets attempted murder charges. He spends a couple weeks in jail because he allegedly shot one of the pigs in the leg. That also needs to go onto the table with the defunding of the police, to also have them stop. I don't know if they can do that with the defunding, but that needs to be something to put on the table. Excuse me, let me get my words right. The end to internal investigations, especially when it comes to cases like these. Because whenever they do internal investigations of themselves, they will almost always find themselves clear of any wrongdoing. But I do offer my condolences to this man and his family, and all I can say is hope for the best.